I'd like to welcome back to the show author and nutritionist Lola Berry. She's going to chat with us today about stress and sleep, and we've just made sure she's on the phone because we do have some technical difficulties from time to time when we're operating the system.
No, you guys are doing great. Don't worry.
Oh, thanks, Lola. And I'm very excited to hear all about your jumping out of the plane today because I think it goes really well with our stress and sleep topic that we're going to talk about. How did you sleep last night?
I actually slept really well. I'm not going to lie, I did take magnesium before I went to bed because I was like a little bit anxious and a little bit nervous. In fact, if I'm honest with you, I was more nervous probably in the lead up like last night, but the second that I got in the plane this morning, and you know you've got to go up 15,000 feet or so, I was like calm as, and I was just couldn't wipe the smile off my face. I was just like, man, I just feel so blessed and lucky. So it was actually a really awesome experience. It wasn't really a scary experience at all.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're in one piece. I was wondering if you're going to be able to talk to us today.
Yeah, my agents were like, Lola, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yes. You can't give up when opportunities like this come your way. I was like, I cannot say no to this. Like, I can't do that. So for me, the coolest lesson that I probably learned doing it, and it does tie into the whole stress and definitely sleep thing, was just like letting go of fear, because obviously you're facing a fear, you're jumping out, free falling out of a plane. But yeah, for letting go of fear and just kind of trusting in the process, and not to get too hippie on all the listeners, but I think that's actually a big part of dealing with stress as well, like letting go of whatever you're holding on to, because we think thousands and thousands and thousands of times a day, and there's some crazy stat that 90% of our thoughts are repeats.
Yeah.
So, you know, especially when you're fearing something or you're churning over something in your head and it's just not doing any good for you, that is only going to cause stress in the body, and physically, mentally, but obviously emotionally. When you're stressed, everybody knows it's very hard to sleep. That's
so true. And so on the topic of sleep, how, you know, because we're all so busy, how much sleep is enough?
So obviously you do want to aim for more than what we're getting. So like 8 hours is like the blanket rule. But the cool thing, Briony, is every hour before midnight is the equivalent to 2 hours after midnight.
Yeah.
So I like this one, because for me, if I can get to bed, you know, before 10, even like tonight, because I had to get up at like 4 this morning to do skydive. So if I can get to bed at like 9 tonight, I'm wrapped, because I know that I'm going to make up for all that lost time and also like from undersleeping. Because as soon as, and you would know, as soon as you're undersleeping, you can't control hunger, appetite, you're craving sweet things, because all the hormones that are in charge of regulating hunger, satiety, you know, like all the things that are important, and our sweet cravings, they're all out of whack. So sleep is really important. And then you eat sweet stuff and you feel great for like 20 minutes, and then it just adds to stress. Yeah. Also on a cellular level causing inflammation, but also like on a mental level, you get that quick high and then you kind of fall into a heap and you feel even worse and even more stressed out and more run down. I think with stress, you can do so much by eating good food about that. You know, it teaches you how to handle stress.
That's right. So if we are, like, how can stress actually affect our sleep?
Oh, my goodness. So if you're stressed out and you're tired, you know, you've got, say you've got a really big meeting in 2 days and you're like, I don't know what they're going to think of me. For example, I've got a huge meeting tomorrow, a lot of pressure, big guys, could make my dreams come true. Like, there's a lot of pressure for this dream, this meeting tomorrow. But rather than stress about it, I'm like, what can I do to honour myself in the lead up to it? You know, like apart from jumping out of a plane, you know, can I, you know, get a lot of sleep, you know, eat really good food. Like I'm going to do a big chicken and kale cook up tonight, you know, like eating really nourishing food. But my neurochemistry is kind of like firing. And as you know, it's all about the nervous system. And
totally.
We know magnesium naturally relaxes the nervous system, so it relaxes the myelin sheath of the brain. And that's what tightens up. Yeah, it tightens up when we're stressed out. And that's why a lot of smokers, you know, straight away get that stress release straight away, because the nicotine relaxes the myelin sheath. But foods high in magnesium do this in a much more organic way and a slower way, granted, of course. But it's really cool to eat foods high in magnesium, so raw nuts and seeds, dark leafy greens. The darker the leaf, the more magnesium that you're going to get. You know, of course, I'm not against supplementation at all, especially when I believe supplements are actually there when the body is under more stress. So I believe in supplementation when you know you're a little bit more stressed out, you're a little bit more on edge, you're not, you know, you're a bit more like, oh, you know, I've got to tick all these boxes, and you're probably placing a little bit of pressure on yourself. So pro, you know, things like magnesium, even fish oils, but you need to be taking them long term to get the benefits. But I mean, I think it's about omega-3s, magnesium are like the two big key players when it comes to brain health and stress.
And so what about, when we're all stressed out, obviously, that, our cortisol levels are sky high and, that can obviously affect our sleep and also our moods and how we feel. So, what can you suggest, like lifestyle and dietary habits besides,
Such a cool thing about cortisol is they've done studies on sardines, and sardines have got some chemical in them that's so long that I can't remember how to say, but it's like phytoplankton, blah, 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 blah. It's like a four-part word.
Yep.
But that actually is linked to reducing cortisol levels in the body.
Wow.
So eating oily, but that said as well, like oily fish, so you're getting your protein for neurochemistry. You're also getting, your good fats. And I mean, cortisol's a big one, especially for us, and a good one. Whenever I take consults and people will say to me, I just want to lose a bit of weight, and I go, where? And they go, my tummy, and that's a straight out sign that they've got high cortisol levels. So if if the listeners out there are like, oh, that's kind of my little spot that I always have to work on. I know for me, always got to work on my tummy. Anytime I see a trainer, I'm like, let's do abs, because I've got to constantly work on that area because my cortisol levels naturally jack up, I guess, like, working in television and I guess having a high-paced life and job, you're kind of running on that kind of like cortisol, which it's detrimental over a long period of time, but it can be effective. Like, it does put you into fight and flight. It's just when it's too much of a good thing, it was where it can be really kind of like just burn you out.
And I've got a suggestion as well. Maybe people eating, meals frequently to sort of balance their blood sugar levels and stop the yo-yo of the blood sugar.
Absolutely. And like always having good things on hand. Like, I think another thing that people forget, and even myself, it takes a lot of discipline to be healthy, I believe. You would know it as well, having fructose malabsorption.
Yes.
You live a FODMAP diet, don't you?
Yes, no, I do.
Yes. So you would know, like, even for me today, like going out and doing this jump, I wasn't going to eat anything before I went, in case it came up. So I had stuff packed for me in the car.
Yeah, you have to think about it.
And I think that with the thing, like you said, like with the stress, like naturally when you stress out, you kind of want to go for something sweet. You're like, just give me chocolate now. And I'm going to be honest with you, I still have those days where I'm like, forget it, just give me like chocolate. And of course I feel really bad after, but like you're just constantly learning. But if say you've got some raw macadamia nuts or some even carrot sticks, I just love snacking on carrot sticks. You're just constantly giving yourself that little bit of energy to deal with the stress that you need to deal with, and the brain can function. Like even for carrots, like that little bit of glucose, like so you can get energy to the brain, and then you kind of like back on track. But I find if I'm ever stressed out, as soon as I go more strict paleo with my diet and a lot more protein, I can handle stress way more because my body just thrives off it.
Oh, that's good. Well, there's some really good advice there. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Lola.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I know, we love having you. And, well, good luck with the rest of your busy day. I'm sure it's not as exciting as your morning.
Oh, you never know. But yes, I think I'll be on a high for a little while after that one, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're alive, and I did check your Facebook updates just in case, but it's good to speak to you, and there's heaps for people to take home and learn and think about their stress and sleep and food, so thank you.